Yo guys, what's going on? Mal here. Today bringing you another Apex Legends video. Today we're going to be talking about the patch notes from update 1.2 that just came out on June 4th earlier today, and basically all the changes that were made and my opinions on them. So to start off, they apologize for the delay of rolling out the update. Thankfully it wasn't too late and it was pretty much on time. No real issue with that. Next they start talking about the Legendary Hunt event itself and the time span. They note that it's running from June 4th until July 2nd, where if you make it to the top 5 in any match, you earn your way into a select queue full of top 5 winners. They go on to explain that the queue is optional. You can choose to play in the regular playlist at any time. The ring closes faster. Damage when you're out of bounds has also been increased. And you can also earn a specific badge that tracks your elite game wins. Next, they mentioned the 2 additional legendary skins for all current Battle Pass owners that you are given. So if you have the Wild Frontier Battle Pass already, you'll automatically get the Legendary Honored Prey R301 skin. And if you're level 15 before the end of the event, you also get the Wraith Knight Terror Legendary skin. Next, they bring up the actual challenge rewards for the Legendary Hunt event. So from June 4th to June 18th, you can complete special in-game challenges to score free Legendary Hunt loot. The rewards are event exclusive. Once it's over, you cannot get these rewards. So what you can get is a Legendary Hunt badge. Basically, if you finish in the top 5 of any match and continuously queue into the Apex Elite queue, it tracks your top 5 streaks, so I'm assuming that number is infinite. Show who's owning in that Apex Elite queue consistently. You can also get a rare Wolfpack G7 Scout weapon skin if you finish in the top 5 in an Apex Elite match. You can get an Epic Master of the Hunt Bloodhound Legend skin if you finish in the top 5 in any queue 5 times. You can also get a Legendary Tame Beast Triple Take weapon skin if you win twice in any queue. Next, I talk about the Battle Pass bonus XP, which is also from June 4th to June 18th. So you can earn an entire Battle Pass level when you finish in the top 5 in any match once per day. Unfortunately, I'm already max level in the Battle Pass, so that doesn't really benefit me at all. Then they go on to talk about Double XP Weekend, which starts Friday, June 7th at 10 a.m. Pacific Time until Monday, June 10th at 10 a.m. Pacific Time. You can score double level XP and Battle Pass XP all weekend long. Does not include the Battle Pass level earned from finishing in the top 5 each day. This also doesn't really benefit me in any way because I'm pretty much max level. I mean the high level 300 and stuff like that doesn't really matter to me. I don't really care too much about that number. Next, I talk about the Legendary Hunt store skins, which also runs from June 4th till June 18th. You can get new Legendary Hunt items that will rotate into the shop every 3 to 4 days. These items are event limited, so they may be back, but no one can say when. So basically, you may lose out on your chance to get these skins once the event is over. Next, to get into the specific patch notes for update 1.2. So they talk about some known issues, the teamwork and bonus round badges. They're working on a server-side patch to fix those ASAP. There was a PlayStation sign-in bug for new players. They're working on a fix for that as well. Some updates on the map itself. Thunderdome has seen some small changes to loot placement. Basically, they just moved around some loot bins in the map to make them more visible. They actually double the amount of loot in pit, so there's 2 times the loot now in the pit. Repulsor has loot bins added to the west side of the area on top of the trapezoid building. Some loot was added to the underground pit in the small town in Shattered Forest. They added voiceover lines that will call jump towers out when you ping them. You can now ping the jump towers or balloons. Some quality of life or bug fixes that they came out with in this update are they decreased the delay with items showing up in the menu when looting a death box. So you can now go for armor swaps more efficiently, although there is a slight issue with the organization of the loot, so it could be all scattered for you when you do open the loot box. But it has been addressed that they're working on a fix for that. The minimap direction will now display correctly while in the ship or skydiving. Improved server performance for some cases of rubber banding when using items. Removed an exploit that allowed a squad to have more than one of the same legend. Removed an exploit that allowed to bunny hop while healing. We'll get into that in another video of my opinion on that. They also fixed some issues where players might bounce off your squad when breaking off during a skydive, which is a very nice thing. Sometimes you would bump into other teams. It was very irritating. It ruined your movement in general. They improved skydiving so it should feel more responsive and smooth. Thermite grenades now cause damage to doors. They came out with some squad summary page improvements. There's a cursor support added. Players can now mute, report players on the page. Players can now report teammates that are disconnected as well. Caustic barrels can now be triggered or disabled by friendly teammates. Some Xbox and PlayStation specific bug fixes. They added the ability to fully customize button layout for controllers. They added a cooldown of 0.5 seconds before you can reuse the last zipline you were on. Not sure why they made that change. It's a pretty odd change. I don't really think it affects too much. in the game itself. I don't know why it was focused on for this patch, but nonetheless wanted to experiment with it. Pathfinder's grapple now has a blue crosshair indicator that will appear when the grapple is in range of objects it can connect to. That's kind of a convenient thing to have. It was always very up for grabs of what you could grapple to. When grappling a zipline, the trajectory will now pull players to a point below the zipline rather than above. This makes it so players are more likely to connect with the zipline instead of flying over it. They made improvements to how weapon reticles and optics are displayed when playing the colorblind setting. Added colorblind support for Threatened Vision Scope and Bloodhound's Ultimate. They removed the ability for players to change game settings not intended to be modified on a client level. Our intent is to prove exploits like removing muzzle flash, disabling lighting, and other changes that give players an unfair competitive advantage. I do think that is the dumbest thing they've done so far, but we'll get into that in another video. They reverted the behavior of holster weapons, so pressing that button while your melee weapon is out will no longer bring out your last primary weapon. They added ability to fully customize button layout for controllers. I'm pretty sure that was mentioned earlier in the patch notes themselves. They added localized voiceovers for all legends that now support French, German, Spanish, Italian, Russian, Polish, Japanese, and Mandarin, which is a nice feature. They fixed an issue where a player is unable to change their party privacy option. They fixed the extra swipe from the G7 crosshair while moving. Fixed the bug where Cloaked Mirage was too noticeable. That's a very nice change to Mirage. I think that's was very needed for the character itself. They fixed a rare issue with using consumables while having a caustic gas canister out. Fixed an issue where shield cells and shield batteries would sometimes appear to be permanently stuck to the player. That is a nice feature as well. You can now tell when someone is actually healing. They improved the frame rate when sun shadow coverage is set to high in video options. Fixed an issue with the long distance kill badge not displaying the correct max distance. They fixed an issue with bad frame rate when using Bloodhound's Ultimate. They fixed players being crushed by opening or closing doors when climbing onto a roof just above the door. This actually happened to one of my teammates in a scrim a couple months ago, so that's a nice thing that they fixed. They fixed a crash related to model code. Fixed an issue where players would crawl very fast in place. Fixed some rare cases of players getting stuck in geometry. They fixed an issue where Octane's stim trail was still linger after death, so I'm assuming that it hides the character better and he's not as blatantly out in the open when he's not actually using his stim shot. They fixed cases where melee lunges could stop too far from their intended target. They fixed an issue where players are not receiving any XP for anything after a match and the champion bonus showing as -1 XP, which is an odd thing. I don't really think I've ever seen that happen to me before. They also fixed an issue where sometimes the audio and visual effects would not play when a weapon fires. And they also added some minor fixes and polished the game to increase stability and performance. So that's basically everything in this 1.2 update. They added some things, they fixed some things, they patched some things. Overall, it is a decent amount of things that they added and took away from the game. So it seems as though they are doing things. In terms of my opinion of the update, I think that the things they're adding in terms of cosmetics and challenges are a very nice thing to have. I think the cosmetic dynamic of the update is very well put. I think the skins look awesome and I'm eager to play with them. In terms of some of the fixes and changes to the game, I'll get into that in a later video, but I'm not too happy about the B-hopping being removed while healing. I thought that was an interesting dynamic, and I'd like to say that a lot of the higher skilled players would utilize that feature a lot, and it was a very nice thing to have and kind of made a sort of a skill gap between casuals and more experienced players. I was really hoping for a fix to the Pathfinder hitbox with this update, but obviously that didn't happen. I really think that should be a top priority for them when they are going over things that they should fix, but who knows, it could come out in the season 2 update when that comes out later out in June. I'm really hoping for that fix. I think fixing Mirage's visibility is a very nice feature and think it was very needed to make the character a little more viable. But one thing I'm very upset about is them taking out the auto exec feature. I thought that was very nice, especially for people that do not have the best PCs and can't run the game at decent settings. I really am baffled as to why they think muzzle flash is something that needs to be in the game. I think it's almost game breaking. You literally can't see where you're shooting if you don't have a sight on your gun. I think it is a dumb feature. I'm pretty upset that they took out the ability to remove it, but hopefully after seeing feedback from a lot of the top players in the community, they decide to revert these changes that I have issues with. It seems like it's a very widespread consensus that these changes are pretty dumb. So tell me what you guys think about this update, about the patch notes, about the event, everything like that. And stay tuned for the next video where I talk about my issues with the patch notes. And until next time, it's been your boy Mala, and peace.